All right, this is your study guide review for lessons 3-4 to 3-6. Question number 1 says, the value of a signed soccer ball increased from $115 to $150. What is the percent increase in value of the signed soccer ball? Round to the nearest hundredth of a percent. All right, so here we go. If we are doing percent increase, think about percent change. That is the purple template in the back of the room. So we have the numbers 115 and 150, and we are going to subtract those two numbers. That number will be our upper left location. Then, according to the purple template, the bottom left is the original price. Well, the soccer ball was originally $115. We're going to cross multiply. We're going to divide. And you're going to get this crazy number. Now, I made this study guide before I double checked with the test. Remember, your test will probably say round to the nearest whole number. So if I was going to round this to the nearest whole number, it would round to 30. But these directions say to the nearest hundredth. So 2 decimal places, and then I'm going to cut that off. So this one would be 30.43. Either answer is okay. Just know that these directions said this, and your test might say that. If you got this right, go ahead and give yourself a star. Otherwise, pause me, copy it, and then come back when you're ready. Question number 2 says, the nuclear power plant's fish hatchery released 175 bass into the river last quarter and 140 bass this quarter. What is the percent decrease? I want you to think percent change. That is the purple template on the back wall. Round to the nearest hundredth of a percent. So we're going to start off by subtracting these numbers. Big number minus small number gives me my upper left location. According to the purple template, the bottom left location is the original number. So the fish hatchery first released 175. All right, we are going to cross multiply. We are going to divide. Now there's no rounding necessary for this one because I think it just comes out perfectly at 20%. If you had that right, you get a star. If you did not get that right, would you please pause me while you copy, fix it, make it beautiful. Come back when you're ready for question 3. Question number 3 says, select all, oh my goodness, all means we're going to have more than one answer. The expressions that can be used to find the price of a $150 headset after a 60% markup. Well, first I better figure out how much that is. So when I'm scanning, I see a percent that lives right above the 100, and the 150 goes down here. We're going to cross multiply and divide. And the markup or price change is $90. So this is the change. Because it is a markup, we are going to take the 150, add the 90 for a new price tag of 240. So we are looking for everything that equals 240. So I have several options over here. I want to remind you that if you see something like this or this with parentheses, That means you're going to multiply 150 times whatever's in the parentheses and then add the 150. I'll also remind you that these stars mean to multiply. Okay, so let's go ahead and do these. The first one, I'm going to start with what's in yellow, 150 times 1.6. I'm going to hit enter and add 150. Ooh, that whoopsie, let me use a different pen on that. That equaled 390, but our target was 240, so that one's no good. Let me try the second one. I'm going to start with what's in yellow. 150 times 0.6, hit enter, add 150. Ooh, my calculator said 240. That matches. That's one of the answers, but I'm not going to stop there. There might be more than one answer. So the third one, 150, the star says to multiply 1.6. That also equaled 240. I'm glad I didn't stop because that's also an answer. Next one, 150. The star means to multiply by 6. Ooh, no. That's 900. That's no good. And the last one, 150. The star means to multiply by 0.60. Almost lost my decimal there. And I ended up with 90, and oh, that one doesn't work either. So there are two correct answers. If you got it right, you're going to star yourself. If you did not get that right, please fix it. Write whatever you need to write so you remember how to do it on the quiz. Okay, we are on question number 4. A new Chromebook originally sold for $450. It now is selling for $350. And we want the percent markdown, but I told you you could think about that as percent of change, and you can use the purple template in the back of the room. So we're going to start by subtracting these numbers. That will give us our upper left location. The lower left location is the original price. It originally sold for $450. We are going to cross multiply. We are going to divide. There's no worries about rounding because it just came to be 30%. Star yourself if you're right. Pause and fix it if you are not. All right, number 5 is one of those monster problems. It says a calculator is on sale for 25% off the original price of $60. That's going to be one part. But then we have to add sales tax, and we want the final price. All right, so this is a monster. Let's do this. We want a price change. Whoops, I got the wrong pen again. Let me try that again. A price change for the discount. So when I do this, I look for the discount percent. It lives above the 100. The original price goes here. And when I multiply and divide by 100, it looks like the price drop is going to be $15. So then I'm going to take the 60, take off the $15 because it's on sale, and the new price is $45. Okay, so far so good. But now we have to add some tax. So that's a price change again. So I search for the percent for tax, and it's right there. 8% lives over 100. Now that calculator is not $60 anymore. Remember, it was on sale. It is $45. All right, so when I cross multiply and I divide, it looks like I'm going to have a price change of $3.60. Put a 0 on the end. So the way tax works, You pay for the calculator and add in some tax for a grand total of $48.60. Whew, that was a big problem. If you got that right, give yourself a star, but if you didn't, make sure you take good notes. You're going to have one of these on your quiz. Let's see if you can get it right. So pause me, copy, come back when you're ready for checking, or ready for question number 6. All right, question number 6 is going to move us into some interest problems. And I'm going to remind you that interest is the principal, money, times the rate, percent, times the time in years. All right, so Delilah opened a bank account with 1.5%. Ooh, that goes right here, but you know what? I'm going to think of that as a decimal, 0.015. Remember, we move our decimal 2 places to the left. So right under the R, I'm going to put that rate as a decimal. The total amount of interest Delilah will earn after, there's our time. Right under the T, I'm going to put 15. And this is our interest. So that's going to go over here, 168.75. And it looks like I am missing the principal. All right. So let's clean this up a bit. We have our interest. We have our principal, but can we combine these two numbers? It looks like we can. Let's take 0.015 times 15. If you do that on the calculator, those two numbers together, 0.225. Okay, so if I have numbers, one on the left and one on the right of the equal sign, we are going to use some algebra to solve this. We're going to look on the side where the P is, and we're going to ask ourselves, what is the opposite of multiplying by this number? Well, it's dividing by that number, but if you do it to one side of your equation, you have to do it to the other side of your equation. Now this cancels, which is awesome, because then I get the principal by itself. And the principal will be whatever this is. So take 168.75 and divide it by 0.225, and you will get a principal of $750. Whew, all right. If you got that right, give yourself a star. But if you didn't, take really good notes so that you can get this right on the test. Pause me and come back when you are ready for question 7. Question 7 is also an interest problem. So I'm going to remind you that the interest, I, equals the principal, the money, times R, the rate, times T is the time. All right, so Miles opened a bank account that earns simple interest with initial deposit, there's your money, of $2,500. He made no other transactions throughout the year, means 1. At the end of the year, Miles had, well, it doesn't say that's his interest. That says he has a total of that. So let's think about that for a minute. If he has that much at the end, and he started with this much, the difference in those two is your interest. So I think we probably should subtract those. So when you go 2556.25 and you subtract 2500, that means he earned $56.25 in interest. All right, so it just looks like all I'm missing is my rate. But let's see if we can clean this up a bit. I think I can probably take 2,500 times 1. That's 2,500. And then I still have my R over here. If you have one number on the left side of your equal and one number on the right, then you have to use some algebra. And you're going to ask yourself, what is the opposite of multiplying by 2,500? And the answer to that is we're going to divide by 2,500, but not just to one side, to both sides. This is going to cancel, which is awesome, because then my rate is by itself. Take $56.25 divided by 2,500, and you are going to get this decimal. But rates are a percent. So if you remember, to move it back into a percent, we have to move this 1, 2 places, move that decimal, which makes it 2, and then the decimal, 25%. Wow, that was a big problem. If you got it right, you get to star yourself. If you did not get it right, take great notes. Go ahead and pause me. Come back when you're ready for number 8. Okay, this is our last question, and it is also an interest problem. Interest is the principal times the rate times the time. All right, so let's start with Meryl. Meryl deposits $3,000 at a rate of 2.5%. Dory deposits $2,500 with a rate of 2.75%. And they're both going to put them in for 10 years. Okay, so let me go ahead and do Meryl first. She deposited $3,000. Her interest rate, I'm going to move my decimal, 0.025 times 10. It looks like she's going to make $750 in interest. She had $3,000. She earned $750. Meryl will have a grand total of $3,750. All right, let's do the same thing with Dory. She deposited $2,500. Her rate was 2.75%, but I'm going to change that by moving my decimal 2 places to the left. And she also was 10 years. So when I multiply 2,500 times 0.0275 times 10 years, she's going to make $687.50. If she had 2,500 and she earned $687.50, she will have $3,187.50 after 10 years. So it looks to me like, Meryl, you're going to have more money. So yippee. There's Meryl. But there's a second part to this. How much more? Well, that's easy. Take Meryl's money minus Dory's money, and it will be $562.50 more for Meryl. All right, again, if you got that right, you should give yourself a star. If you did not get it right, great notes.